What up, what up, what up? Yep, Chip Kelly is gone. Just getting started here, guys. Ray, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining. Chip Kelly is gone. Raiders news today on the Daily Rumble Sports Edition, formerly known as the Raider D Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Hit Stick Stepper. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, brother, for joining. Did you hear the news? Chip Kelly is gone. He is out of here. And I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, we're going to get into it. But I don't think Chip Kelly was the whole problem here. I think Chip Kelly was part of it, but I think Chip Kelly was the fall guy. Ray, you think it was the best news today. Why do you think that? Do you think Chip Kelly is the problem here? Or do you think it's Pete Carroll? I mean, in my opinion, I don't know who to blame. I think Pete Carroll can't make his mind up on this offensive line. He's listening to his son, and his son doesn't know football very well. If he thinks that, JPJ is a guard rather than a center. Ray, you think Pete's the main problem? Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, we've got Max Crosby and Elandon Roberts like this close to going to blows on the sideline with each other. You've got Geno Smith flipping off Raiders fans at the end of the game. This team is in disarray right now. Complete and utter disarray. And that's why I say the Raiders right now are the worst team in the NFL. Point blank. We have no secondary. We have no pass rush. We have inability to stop the run. So defense is terrible. Offense can't score. Offensive line is the worst in the NFL. And I understand we're missing Colton Miller. The Raiders are missing JPJ. The two stalwarts of that line. But you knew that this was going to happen because you did absolutely nothing to address the offensive line in the offseason. Scott thinks it's the team, not Kelly. I think it's the whole team. I agree. I think it's the entire team is completely discombobulated right now. His Stick Stepper says Chip is the first domino. PC will be the end at the end of the season. Yeah, I don't think Patrick Graham will be back. Or Pete Carroll. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I would see Patrick Graham wanting to be with this team anymore. If I was Patrick Graham, I would be looking for the exit. Truth be told. Like, get me out of here. This team is so dysfunctional, so disorganized. You have Max Crosby, who's one of the best defensive ends in the NFL, and you get him no help. Year after year after year, you get him no help. We did the exact same thing to another guy who was fantastic at that position. Number 52. So, and then we traded him away. At this point, I wonder, do you trade Max Crosby at the end of the year? If you're Max Crosby, do you want to be traded at the end of the year? Because I would be. If I was Max Crosby, I'd be like, dude, get me out of here, man. I don't want to just waste my entire career away on a team that can't put it together. The Raiders are so far away from being a winning team. We are 4 or 5 years away. Point blank. Point blank. We wasted a first round, number 6 overall draft pick on Ashton Genty, who's a great running back, but it doesn't matter if he can't get past the line of scrimmage because we have no offensive line. So I think at this point right now, the Raiders are just better off trading Max Crosby, get a boatload of picks, and you've got to build an offensive line. Straight up. You have to build an offensive line. You look at Myles Garrett with Cleveland, the best defensive end in the NFL by far. This dude's on pace to get 25 sacks this year. After tonight's game, he might get 30 sacks. Who knows? But he signed a big deal with Cleveland, stayed in Cleveland, and, they're 3-8. So some teams are just bad, and they're just not going to get better for years to come because they waste draft picks and they don't do anything in the free agency to better their team, and that's exactly what the Raiders are doing. I think at this point you just got to clean house. It's been a failed experiment with every head coach that we've had since John Gruden. Since the NFL tanked us by sabotaging John Gruden's career right as we were getting hot, headed for the playoffs. Totally just ruined us. And we haven't been able to recover since. True Raider 22, Chip knows football. He does. He knows how to throw the ball 47 times and only hand the ball off to the number 6 overall draft pick 3 times in a game. Greg Olsen is going to be the next offensive coordinator for this season. He'll be the interim offensive coordinator. He has tons of experience at it throughout the league, including with the Raiders. He has connection with Pete Carroll. They see eye to eye. He's the obvious candidate to take over. If it's not Greg Olsen, I would just... If Greg Olsen's not the offensive coordinator, it's a guarantee that the Raiders are intentionally tanking from this point on. Because there's nobody on that team. There's talk of one of Carroll's sons taking over, whether it's his son that's over the QBs or his son that's over the offensive line. If that happens, oh my God. That nepotism is just off the charts, and I think at that point you've completely lost the locker room. Because right now, there's absolutely no way that this is going to continue without the locker room just completely imploding. They need to bench Geno. Yeah, I think so. I think, and I said this in my video earlier today, that I think that if they want to win any games, at this point, I don't know why you would. You might as well just tank the rest of the season, get a number 1 overall draft pick. But if you want to win games, you got to put Aiden O'Connell in. Simple as that. And the reason why I say that is because Aiden O'Connell, not a superstar, not even a star quarterback, but one thing that he does better than Geno is he gets rid of the ball quicker. Remember back in the preseason when Coach Carroll said that the Raiders play faster when Geno Smith's in there. I when I heard him say that, I was looking at the game and I was looking at the contrast between Aiden O'Connell and him, and I'm like, what are you even talking about? Geno Smith holds onto the ball all day long, and that's why he takes 25 sacks a game. Whereas Aiden O'Connell, he realizes he's got no legs, so he has to get rid of the ball quickly. What you would see with him is, the check down Charlie. He's going to get rid of the ball quickly. 2 seconds, the ball's coming out of his hand. He's not going to sit there and hold the ball and let it go deep, which a lot of us want to see, but he's not going to take 10 sacks a game either, like Geno did today, because he's going to check it down. He's going to check it down to Michael Mayer because all the attention is going to be on Brock Bowers, or he's going to check it down to Ashton Jeanty, who when that young man is in space, he makes some things happen. That's the problem with him having his family working with him. No experience at all, especially on the O-line coaching. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The nepotism of having his sons coaching with him when they don't have the requisite experience to do so just screams nepotism. And he's trying to set his sons up for coaching careers in the NFL, but I'm sorry, they're not good. And I said this earlier in my video where I think our right tackle looks worse this year than he did last year. Last year as a rookie, he looked good. He was flashing, right? This year, he looks terrible. He's out of position. Communication is off. Guys aren't picking up the blitzes. It's absolutely horrendous. They don't look prepared. And when you have Elandon Roberts and Maxx Crosby this close to getting into blows on the sideline, that tells you the state of affairs of this team right now. They should build around AOC, give a solid O-line. He can get the job done. I agree, man. When they went out and got Geno Smith, I was hopeful because Geno Smith did statistically have a decent season last year. Accuracy was off the charts. He was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, but he did throw a bunch of interceptions and took a crap ton of sacks. But the blame on that was his offensive line there was terrible. They were the worst offensive line last year. Now he comes to the Raiders, and they got the worst offensive line this year, and he's playing absolutely horrendous football. So I think that the smart thing would have been that the Raiders could have done is draft a rookie quarterback like Shedeur Sanders in the second or third round. We've seen a video of now I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, I'll get back to that. I'm having a brain fart. But the Raiders should have drafted offensive line in the first round. They should not have drafted Ashton Jeanty. I was super excited that they did, but I was also super hesitant because we don't have an offensive line. They didn't address it in the free agency. So you have to start in the trenches. Good teams win in the trenches. You have great offensive lines win Super Bowls. Worst offensive lines in the NFL, and you're 2-9. It's that simple. And the fact that they disrespected JPJ so much with, it's a competition between him and Kappa. Are you kidding me? Alex Kappa is one of the worst offensive linemen in the NFL. I don't even know how this dude has a job. And you're telling me every other position in on the team was not a competition, but you have to have a competition between JPJ and Alex Kappa? And Jordan Meredith is your center, and then as soon as JPJ goes down, Jordan Meredith gets moved over to guard, and you're going to put Kappa at center? Like, this just goes to show that either Pete Carroll doesn't know football anymore, and he's relying on his son who's inexperienced as an offensive line coach, or he was listening to Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly had some weird reasoning for putting JPJ at guard instead of center. JPJ is a top 10 center in the NFL in his rookie year in the snaps that he had at center. He's a top 25 right guard. So why would you put him at guard? He's still good at guard. He's our best guard that we have if you're going to play him at guard. But why in the hell would you play him at guard when he's a top 10 center in the NFL? Makes no sense whatsoever. And the fact that Jordan Meredith's natural position is a guard. So you're going to make him play a position he's never played before in the NFL. And then you're going to take your center and you're going to put him over at guard. I knew that we were in trouble the second that I seen that. When I heard that, I was like, man, I don't understand this. I gave some credit to Pete Carroll. I said, Maybe he's doing this because of the concussion issue with JPJ. And he was worried that JPJ would not be able to make a full season without multiple concussions. And if so, it's better to have a guy work into the center position like Meredith, who's going to be more durable. And then that way, if JPJ goes down, now you can just slide one of the rookies into the guard position. But that's not even what happened. When JPJ went down, they moved Meredith back to guard. So I don't know what they were doing. We are drowning and reaching for air, and it's sad that Max plays 110% and they can't back him up. Max Crosby said this himself several times. He said it several times that it is insane that year after year they start to get a little bit of momentum and then they just change the entire defensive line, and he's out there on an island by himself every freaking year. Every year he's out there on an island. And they give him a bunch of money because he's gonna, he's the face of the franchise. Everybody wants to see Max Crosby. I bet you Max Crosby wants to win more than he wants money. He's gonna always have money. Once he's done with football, he'll be on Fox, he'll be on ABC, he'll be on one of the ESPN, he'll be on one of these sports shows. That's why he's doing the podcast. He's preparing himself for his after football career. He wants championships. He wants a shot to shine in the playoffs and a Super Bowl. And he's not going to ever get that if you do not give him help. I was hopeful for Malcolm Kuntz to come back and kind of, get back into form. He's been terrible all year. So at the end of the day, the defense was the bright spot of the Raiders last year. And you let all the defensive players go. Let them all walk. Had the money to keep them. You let them all walk. You bring in a bunch of has-beens or second stringers, and you think that all of a sudden they're going to be good. That's why the defense has been not good. That's why we've been blown out in a few games. That's why wide receivers are getting wide open. It's just been bad all the way around. Bad. But what to do now? Like I said, I think the Raiders got to tear it down. And we go through this every year. As Raiders fans, you go through this every single year where the Raiders got to tear down and start over. And it's so aggravating. So aggravating. But, hey, that's the Raiders. That's the Raiders. We got sabotaged with John Gruden. John Gruden would not have gotten rid of Derek Carr. And I'm not saying Derek Carr is a superstar. But John Gruden believed in two things. Offensive line and Derek Carr. If John Gruden had not been sabotaged by the NFL and ran out of the Raiders, I think the Raiders make a real swing at the Super Bowl that year. I think we beat Cincinnati. I think we move on and we have a shot. And then the next year and the next year and the next year, I think Derek Carr would still be playing with the Raiders right now. I think he'd probably be in his last year with the Raiders right now. Maybe one more year after this. But we wouldn't have all this craziness if John Gruden was still here with the Raiders. Because Mark Davis wasn't going to get rid of him. He gave him a 10-year contract. I didn't know we hired Joe Biden to coach the Raiders. Feels like it right now. Feels like it. I don't know. I mean, I struggle to even watch the games anymore, man. I really do. Like, it's hard for me to sit through an entire game now and watch this team. You know, when Antonio Pierce was the coach, I think as the interim coach, it was so exciting. Even the games we lost, it was so much more exciting because the players were playing so hard. And then when he got his first full year, I could see that he was being overridden by either Mark Davis or the GM, or somebody was overriding him. Because I think that if he didn't have somebody telling him to put in the nose picker, AOC would have been the starter all year last year. And then this year, we probably would have drafted a quarterback. And there would have been a competition, but most likely AOC is the starter. But I don't know. At this point, I think the Raiders are just cooked. Rest of the year, you might as well go for that number 1 overall draft pick. And we'll see if John Spytek, listen, as I'm seeing the progression now of his picks, we don't have anybody that's standing out other than Ashton Genty, and it's so sad that our offensive line is so terrible that this kid, half the time, he can't get past the line of scrimmage because there's 4 dudes already tackling him the second he touches the ball. Lewis says, I don't think we won't have meaningful change till we have new ownership. Mark Davis has no feel for how to run an NFL franchise. Yeah, I mean, he's got 20 years of it now, and he still can't figure it out. So I think at this point, it's pretty much done. It's pretty much over. He needs to just sell the team completely. And I don't know, he sells the team to Tom Brady. First of all, there's a lot of reports out that Tom Brady wants full ownership of the Raiders. Tom Brady can't afford full ownership of the Raiders. He doesn't have that kind of money. The Raiders is a multi-billion-dollar organization. Where is he going to come up with that? Tom Brady's not a billionaire. He's worth, I think, $400 million. York says, and I thought Tom Brady was there to help Mark with decisions, but it feels like they're not really talking. I don't know what's going on the inside with that. To be honest, I don't know. I know John Spytek was his pick for GM. He has history with John. Really likes John. But remember, they weren't going after Pete Carroll or Chip Kelly. Neither one of those dudes were on the radar for the Raiders. It was Ben Johnson. Tom Brady went all in on getting Ben Johnson. And that didn't happen. So I don't know. Pete Carroll was like a consolation. We didn't get the coach we wanted, so here you go. Here's a consolation prize for, participation award. That's what Pete Carroll felt like, and that's what it looks like Pete Carroll is becoming. I was really hopeful with Pete Carroll that he could turn things around because he's supposed to be a culture builder, but, maybe they knew something in Seattle that the rest of the NFL didn't know. Maybe they knew, listen, he's lost his touch. He doesn't understand the game anymore. The game has moved past him, and this happens to coaches. Even the greatest of coaches. This happens to them. The game passes them by, and it's done, and it's over. And you got to go after somebody that is going to be able to put things together in a way that meets the modern NFL standard. And I don't see that that's happened. Because no matter what, you can change the NFL a million different ways. But at the end of the day, there's a couple of fundamentals that will never change. Offensive lines win championships. Defensive lines win championships. If you have those two things solid, your chances of winning a national championship, a Super Bowl, is so much higher. And the Raiders have not been able to figure that out since the last time we won a Super Bowl. This is the last time we went to a Super Bowl in 2001. Cannot figure it out. But those two fundamentals of football continue to be the same. And they will not change, ever, as long as the game is played on this planet. And they don't do it. Year after year after year after year, the Raiders don't do it. We do not build the trenches. We go after the flashy, the has-beens. Big names, but has-beens. We don't invest in the future big names. We're always going after the has-beens. Bringing them in. Makes no sense. You trade away your best wide receiver for nothing. You bring in another has-been for nothing. You expect that you're going to win games. You're not. You're not. You're not going to win. And I don't know when the Raiders are going to be able to figure that out. I think at this point, you've got to have a young, brilliant young coach, and you've got to give him 5 years to build your team. Bringing in Pete Carroll, the dude's 100 years old. He doesn't have 5 or 10 years to build a championship team. He doesn't even have a couple of years. They give him a 3-year deal. Most likely he's not going to make it past next season. Pete Carroll's the definition of insanity. Yeah, again, like I said, we were going after the young hot stud in Ben Johnson. Didn't get him. Here's your consolation prize for participation. You get a 73-year-old coach who's the game's passed him by. Listen, when an NFL coach goes to be an adjunct professor of motivation or something at USC, it's because everybody knows the game has passed him by. And so they're not calling him. They're not begging him. They're not giving him a big contract because they know the game's passed him by. It's done. It's over. He had a good run, won a national championship at USC, won a Super Bowl at Seattle, but that's it. It's done. It's over. What happens next? Well, I don't know. I think firing Chip Kelly, when you have cancer and you just cut off the arm, but the cancer is metastasized throughout the entire body, what good is it going to do? You're still going to die. And I think that's where the Raiders are at right now. I think the cancer has infected the entire organization, and they're terminally ill, and it's going to remain so for years to come. We had $110 million in the offseason, and what did we do with it? Brought in mediocre talent. Agreed. A bunch of has-beens and second stringers. Not one quality player that was going to upgrade this team in any shape, form, or fashion. Not one. And the biggest, glaringest problem that the Raiders had was with the offensive line. And we did absolutely nothing. Draft-wise, yeah, we got some rookies in the third round. That's not where you're going to get that premium talent. You can get talent that can develop into premium talent in the third round, sure. but we're not even giving them playing time. Let's do this. Ask yourself this question. Who here tonight believes that Alex Kappa is going to be on this team next year? Jordan Meredith, Dylan Parham. You think any of those three dudes on this offensive line will be with the team next year? I don't. So why in the hell are they still playing when you're 2-8? Now we're 2-9. If these has-beens who suck are not going to be with the team anyway next year, and your chances of making the playoffs are zero, -20, not even zero, we're -20 to make the playoffs. Why are they still here? Why are they still playing? Why are they not on the bench? Why are you not playing your rookies, getting them experience? Because the way that the NFL practices now is half the amount of practice that they used to do just 10 years ago. So these rookies, 9 times out of 10 throughout the day, are sitting in a classroom, bored out of their mind, not out there in pads, not practicing, not getting better, not staying in shape. And you're saying, well, they're not ready yet. You know why they're not ready yet, Pete Carroll? Because you're not letting them play. In today's NFL, the only way these people get better is when they play. And we're not doing it. Why is Charles Grant not out there? Why is not any of our draft picks out there playing consistently other than Ashton Jeanty? With a bunch of guys who you know are not going to be back on this team next year. There is no way, if the Raiders keep Alex Kappa on this team next year, I will never watch another Raiders game for the rest of the year. Next year. If that dude is in any kind of way still on this team and still in a role where he can play, because he can't play, but where they're going to make him play, I won't watch any games. Because that just goes to show that they have zero clue as to what the hell they're doing. I have never coached a football, not even a Pee Wee League game in my entire life. I played when I was younger, but I never coached anything. And I guarantee you, just from playing Madden football, I could coach a better game than what Pete Carroll is doing right now. Just because I know the player personnel situation apparently better than Pete Carroll does. I never would have told JPJ you're moving to guard. And Alex Kappa, you're third string, bud. I think our rookies should play from here on out the rest of the season. Every rookie the Raiders drafted throughout 7 rounds, I think we had a total of 11. Every single one that's still on the team after the 53-man roster cut, they're playing football. Rest of the season. End of story. And I think at this point you should probably just cut Geno Smith like tomorrow. I think he's a cancer on the team. I think his teammates don't like him. And it's causing a lot of problems. I think you just got to get rid of him. Cam Miller, I think he's on the practice squad. Yeah, they don't care about the future. Clearly they don't. Because they're not even playing. Like, Pete Carroll's been asked like 5 times in the past 2 weeks, why are you not playing the rookies? Why are you not playing the rookies? You have no shot at going to the playoffs. Why are you putting in guys like Alex Kappa, who sucks royally bad, and Forsyth, who sucks? Why are you not playing your rookies? Because even if the rookies suck, that's great. Let them suck now while our chances of going to the playoffs are over anyway. At least they'll have a chance to get better because they're young. These old dudes like Kappa and stuff, they're not going to get any better. All they do is get worse. Oh, they give us the best chance to win. Win what? An embarrassing loss award from the NFL's most pathetic team committee? This is the only thing the Raiders are winning right now. It's horrible. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to jump on here and rant with you because I'm just so fed up with my Raiders. It sucks. And I know a lot of you guys who've been with me back when the channel was called the Raider D Podcast. I know that a lot of you were upset that I changed it to the Daily Rumble and that we started doing a lot more content on this channel. But I do want to just share one thing with you. And I hope that some of the people who were hating on me for that hear this. We have 143,000 followers on Instagram because I changed the content. I went from 5,000 followers on Instagram and 50,000 views to 143,000 followers and 35 million views. And that's why I changed the content, because you know what? At the end of the day, there's a lot more going on than just sports. And I'm a very wide spectrum of interest person. I have a lot of interests in things, and I like to talk about a lot of things. And when my Raiders are just absolute trash year after year after year, it kind of gets a little bit redundant and boring saying the same thing, that we suck and we need to tear down and we need to draft and we need to do this. So I wanted to talk about a little bit more. And that's why I did it. And so all of you who stuck with me and have still been watching my content, I salute you because you're awesome. And for the haters, well, you know where you can go. But yeah, man, I just wanted to jump on here and rant because it was like, you know, like when you put your nails on the chalkboard and you got that really just irritating, bone-chilling irritation sound. That's what it was like watching the game today. And it's been that way this entire season. You know, we get a little bit of juice when we see a big play from Ashton Genty or Brock Bowers or something, but you know, that's like once a game. The rest of it is just utter torture. And so, yes, will I watch the game next week? Of course I will. Am I looking forward to it? No. But I can't help it. I mean, I'm a Raiders fan. I'll still watch them even though they suck, but it's difficult, man. Dark says, I salute you. You are the only Raider content creator who tells the truth. I think there's some good Raider content creators out there. The goat on Instagram does a really good job. I actually had him on my channel. We did a show together. Great dude. You know what I like about him? He spends his own money to give stuff away to people. He has no sponsors. Every dime he makes off of either YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, because you don't get paid off of Instagram. Any money that he makes off of that, he buys merch, gets Max Crosby and other players to sign it, and then he gives it away in the parking lot. Doesn't ask anything for it. He's a solid dude, a Raiders fan through and through. Does a really good job of covering the Raiders, talking about the Raiders. It's all that he talks about. I mean, because he has a business. He owns a nursing home or something like that. So, you know, he doesn't do it like me. With me, I do content full time. It's my business. It's what pays the bills. And it's what I love doing every single day. You know what they say? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, I love making content. I retired from construction. I've been doing construction my whole life. Got into content, really loved it, retired from it, or retired from construction. And now I just do content full time. And it pays the bills. It doesn't pay anywhere like construction did. I owned a construction company, but you know, I have very little bills and stuff. I own my property outright and all that. So I don't have to pay rent or mortgage or anything. So my bills are pretty low. So now I'm able to just sit here and have conversations about stuff that I think's important and cool and fun, and make a little bit of money and put it in the bank and pay the bills and take care of the fam and yeah, all that good stuff. So and guys, have you guys heard of Muck It Up? So they're an American company. They do like camping gear, knives, tactical gear, if you're into that kind of thing, scopes, night vision, all that. MUC Muck Up.com. They're a brand new sponsor we just brought on. We're going to start making some content for them. They're sending me a bunch of stuff to review. Really cool company here in the Rocky Mountains, American owned, operated, patriotic, America first, non-racist. They check all the boxes of the Raider D, man. So I'm really proud and happy to be having them as a sponsor now. So guys, go and check them out for some gift buying for the holidays, whatever you're gonna do. They got like a 25% off store wide, I think, right now. Really cool knives, really cool gear. You'll see some of that coming up here. I should get the shipment in the mail by I think Wednesday, and we'll start highlighting some of their stuff. So really great company. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday night, a great week ahead. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.